Hi, I'm Doyle Bishop with Tulsa Heaters Midstream. Today I want to talk to you about a concept that might be a little confusing. I know the first time that I heard it, I'm like, what? I don't understand. You hear sometimes, maybe you've heard sometimes, hey, it's a 2-pass heater or it's a 3-pass heater. And I didn't really know what that meant until it was explained to me. So I'm going to try to do that for you. And I want to talk about why it's important to have uniform flow amongst your passes. So first off, when you think of a pass, think path, not pass. So when the oil, fluid, whatever gas comes to the heater, and these are very schematically drawn, obviously heaters are more than just a rectangle with a helical coil. But just for ease of drawing, I drew them this way. So when the fluid first arrives at the heater, it's like, hey, am I going to branch into 3 different paths or pass, or am I going to stay on one single pass? This is a single pass, no branching. Everything stays in the same coil, never splits, never comes back together. We call that a single pass. Usually it's for smaller heaters, smaller flows, get single passes. When we get bigger heaters, bigger flows, we're looking at multi-pass heaters. And I've drawn a 3-pass, and you're not limited to 3. You can keep going. I mean, there's even 8-pass heaters out there. And one question might be is, well, why don't you just make the pipe bigger? I mean, why break it into smaller pipes? Why, let's say you come in with a 12-inch pipe and you break to 6 inches, why don't you just go 12-inch all the way through? Well, it's kind of a crazy answer, but believe me, it's the right answer. So all the R&D work, the development work for fired heaters was done with pipe sizes up to about 4 inches. Now you see some heaters with, a lot of heaters with 6-inch coils here, and you're saying, well, wait, if they just did 4 inches, why are you doing 6? So it's a little bit of an extrapolation. And so no further research for fired heaters has ever been done to really confirm anything more than a 4-inch. 6-inch has been confirmed just by installations, but people don't try an 8-inch coil or larger. It's like, hey, this is working, let's not do something different. So that's really where passes come. The other thing that you need to think about, at least with our heaters, in the in the radiant section, we roll a helix like this. Well, it's way easier to roll a 6-inch piece of pipe in a tight diameter than it is a 12-inch piece of pipe in a tight diameter. In fact, it can become impossible to roll a 12-inch diameter pipe in, let's say, a 10-foot diameter. It won't roll that tight. You start folding the metal over. So for practical reasons, and also the extent of the R&D and the heat transfer models, we don't get larger than a 6-inch pipe size. So let's talk about multi-pass. This is pretty straightforward, not a lot of thought involved here, but let's talk about multi-pass. One of the critical things is to establish or maintain even flow in each of the passes. And the reason you want that is, one, you want this heat to be evenly divided in each pass. If I have one flow that is absorbing more heat than the other flow, one, you got an efficiency problem, but 2, you may have a tube metal problem or a film temperature problem, which is a topic we've often talked about. So just trust me in that you want even flow across all the passes. So one of the questions would be, well, how do you get even flow? Well, the first thing you do as a designer is make the piping symmetrical. Make it the same length, the same number of elbows, the same number of 180s. So you don't make one pass longer than the other pass. You make them the same length to the extent that you can. Now, sometimes there's little differences and you can't make them exactly. So there's always some imperfections in that attempt to make them perfectly exactly alike. The other thing that you do, probably the most important, is keep the flow rate high. If I keep the flow rate high, I create more pressure drop from here to here. If I have more pressure drop from here to here, that effectively forces the flow to be even between the passes. So pressure drop is your friend on pass distribution. If you get too low in pressure drop, you could easily have one pass take more than its share of the flow, and you've got some heating that's not even, and maybe some tube problems. So two things there. One is, as a heater designer, we're going to design it that way, but as a heater operator, if you're operating the heater, you have the ability to control the flow in and out of the heater. You don't want to go too low on this flow in and out of the heater, because you could have done it to yourself. Even though the heater designer has done their job with good pressure drop, symmetrical piping, you could actually hurt yourself if you get the flow in and out of the heater too low. And maybe you're saying, hey, I've got a process that requires quite a bit of turn down. I really need to be able to turn this flow rate down. What can I do? So all is not lost. You can actually come in and instrument this, put some instruments in. You can put like flow meters on all the passes. Each pass has its own flow meter, and then you can put in manual valves, or you can even automate them if you want to spend some big money. Typically, manual valves are good. You get it adjusted. You look at your low flow case. You look at what the flows are on your low flow case, and then you set these up so that you ensure that any kind of geometry issues are accommodated by tweaking these valves a little bit to get that even flow that you want. So, recapping, pass equals path. If you want to make it really good, you have high pressure drop, high flow through the heater, and if you still need more turn down, you put some valves and some instruments in.